A taxpayer-funded nonprofit that employs the wife of Baltimore City Mayor Brandon Scott is facing a series of financial troubles.
Patrick Huff from our Spotlight on Maryland team investigates how delayed tax filings and a lawsuit over a rent payment reveal a concerning pattern at Bmore Empowered.
Bmore Empowered works to serve Black women and girls through programs such as summer camps and after-school events. Hannah Scott, the wife of Mayor Scott, works as the nonprofit's director of operations. Bmore Empowered announced in September that it was ending the year on an organizational pause with an assurance their operations will resume at some point, but needed a, quote, reset. Our investigation takes a look at some of the events that may have contributed to this decision. The Downtown Partnership of Baltimore, which relies on Maryland state tax dollars, gave Bmore Empowered $80,000 in 2024 through its Boost program. Mayor Scott spoke at the announcement for the grant in 2023. The same month, he announced he was expecting a child with Bmore Empowered's director of operation.
The fabulous, phenomenal, brilliant, and beautiful women of Bmore Empowered who are empowering, yeah, let's clap, there we go, Sharonda. Who are empowering women to live their best, empowered, and free lives each and every day.
A spokesman for the Downtown Partnership told Spotlight on Maryland the grant to Bmore Empowered was supposed to help the organization open a storefront location on North Howard Street. However, when we visited the location, it was boarded up. The spokesman told us Bmore Empowered ended up opening the storefront on North Charles Street. However, when we visited this location, it was listed as an office space for rent. The spokesman also added that Bmore Empowered is no longer a part of its program and has yet to submit documentation of how it spent the grant money. Our further investigation led us to the courthouse, where Spotlight on Maryland pulled documents showing Bmore Empowered was sued in September for not paying rent at its North Charles Street office. The documents state nobody from Bmore Empowered showed up in court, and the organization was ordered to pay rent with interest, totaling $3,500. Oliver Schlacke, a professor and program director at the University of Maryland Business School, said nonprofits will often pause operations when they run out of funds to pay their employees.
You're probably at a point where you cannot make payroll. That's usually a point when you're not having enough money, and so you just don't have even for the services you want to offer. You just run out of people.
Spotlight on Maryland previously reported on how Bmore Empowered received $62,500 from 2023 to 2024 from the Baltimore Children and Youth Fund, which is almost exclusively funded by city tax dollars. BCYF's board includes an appointee from Mayor Scott's office. Bmore Empowered received another $25,000 grant from Baltimore City in December 2022. We obtained documents showing that Bmore Empowered's co-founder, Kiara Iarte, has more than $25,000 in taxes owed to the state of Maryland. Attempts to reach Iriarte were unsuccessful. Bmore Empowered has not filed its nonprofit tax form for fiscal year 2024, which was due in May. Its latest tax form from fiscal year 2023 shows that about 50% of its spending went to contractors, which totaled $500,000. Mrs. Scott's salary is not listed. The Maryland Charity Database lists Bmore Empowered's registration status as delinquent. We reached out to all of Bmore Empowered's listed sponsors. 3 of them told us they have no active grants with Bmore Empowered. This includes the Downtown Partnership, Annie E. Casey Foundation, and Baltimore Community Foundation. Schlacke said grant-making oversight can be troubling if each side doesn't have the proper expertise.
Do these organizations claim what they're set out to be, And the challenge is here now. Does both sides do they have the resources to do this properly, right? And that's the challenge.
Between BCYF, Downtown Partnership, and Baltimore City grant money, Bmore Empowered received $167,500. To find out how the money was spent, we asked Bmore Empowered the following questions. Where is Bmore Empowered located now? How long is Bmore Empowered planning to put its services on hold? Are you able to continue paying employees while pausing operations? Why have you yet to file your tax form for fiscal year 2024? Are you able to provide this tax form? Bmore Empowered did not respond. We did some additional digging on the initial location on North Howard Street where Bmore Empowered was supposed to open a storefront. It turns out the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development awarded $100,000 to the Market Center Community Development Corporation this year to transform the property with modern apartments and a ghost kitchen. However, when reached for comment, DHCD told us the company relinquished the grant and never received the money. Market Center Community Development did not respond to our questions about what they plan to do with the property. The company is listed as a part of the Downtown Partnership of Baltimore.
We'll keep a close eye on development projects in downtown Baltimore, and we'll continue to monitor how nonprofits spend your taxpayer dollars. For Spotlight on Maryland, I'm Patrick Huff.
I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for watching. Here's another video to watch. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel.